Hey, what's up? People Pizowell here, and today I want to talk to you guys about 1986's Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, directed by John McNaughton and starring Michael Rooker. Now, this is partially going to be a review of the movie as well as a review of this Dark Sky Films 30th anniversary Blu-ray release for the film. And Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, the title pretty much says all that you need to know about this movie going into it. The movie is about a serial killer named Henry, played by Michael Rooker. He is this nomadic maniac. He goes to a new town, he picks up some sort of day labor type job, he kills a bunch of people, and then he moves on to the next town, rinse and repeat. However, there is a lot more going on in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer than simply a portrait of a serial killer. This is the kind of movie that crossbreeds a good old-fashioned 70s style exploitation movie and an art house movie. On one level, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer delivers all the sort of exploitation kind of elements that you would want in a movie entitled Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, yet at the same time, the movie is shot in such a documentary-like fashion, and the movie is definitely trying to tell us something about the state of the United States in the late 80s, and it's doing so in a very brutal, yet almost satirical kind of way. Now, there are so many things I love about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. First and foremost, the performances in this film are fantastic. Michael Rooker as Henry, the character is somewhat loosely based on Henry Lee Lucas, a real serial killer who claimed to have murdered over 300 people. And he portrays the character as this very quiet, almost unassuming guy who, at a moment's notice, will lash out into brutal acts of violence. His performance is as captivating as it is imposing. He is a very frightening character in this movie. The way that he discusses murders and his understanding, his knowledge of being a murderer, and how almost professor-like he is in teaching the art of murder to his sidekick, Otis, is really shocking, because that's one of the things that really stood out to me about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, was how random acts of violence can be, and how, for no reason that you can understand, you could be victimized. Just a chilling, frightening performance from Michael Rooker in this film. A great performance from Michael Rooker in this film. Also, I love Tom Toll's performance as Otis in this movie. He is so good at being absolutely reprehensible. His performance in this movie, and I think Tom Toll's performance gets overshadowed a lot by Michael Rooker's performance when you're talking about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. But for me, Tom Toll's performance almost steals the show, if it doesn't steal the show, because again, he is so good at just being such an reprehensible human being. You can't take your eyes off of him in this film, and it seemed to me like Tom Tolles was having an absolute blast playing Otis in this movie. Great performance from Tom Tolles in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Also, the actress who plays Becky, what was her name? Tracy Arnold, delivers a great performance in this movie as well. She is just kind of, you feel sorry for her. She's either being abused by her husband, or she's being abused by her brother Otis in the film, and she's just a sad victim. Another thing I love about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is how grim and bleak the movie is. The movie was shot in this very kind of documentary style fashion that lends it this very chilling kind of authenticity, but it's just this very oppressively grim and bleak movie. And because it was shot on such a low budget, without permits and definitely guerrilla style on the streets of Chicago. It has this very, I don't know, dirty, grimy kind of feel to it. And I love the locations they chose to shoot this film in Chicago. Also, it lends to the, that kind of urban squalor and decay that just sort of blends into the film as well, just adding to the overall bleakness of the movie. And there are a lot of moments in this movie that just stick with you. You can't unsee them once you've seen them. The one in particular I'm thinking of is a home invasion sequence in which Henry and Otis have broken into this family's home, and Otis is torturing the wife while Henry records everything on a video camera, and we're watching all of this transpire on the video camera, and then we cut to Otis and Henry sitting on the couch actually watching the video. They're kind of wallowing in the spoils of their own evil and loving it. It's a really chilling moment, and it's a moment that kind of, at first you're watching, it's as if you're there with them, as if you're there in the room with them and you're the one actually recording what's happening, and then you're transported to know it's like you're on the couch with them watching the crime, and it's just it's such a jarring, chilling moment, and it's executed perfectly by John McNaughton. Also, the end of this movie, it's such a chilling, just a great ending. I won't give too much away about the ending of this film, but it's the perfect ending for this movie. It's definitely the kind of ending that once the movie cuts to black, you're just kind of sitting there kind of frozen in your seat at the realization of what's happened. It's great ending. I cannot say enough good things about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's the kind of movie that crossbreeds an art film and an exploitation movie, and it does it in an unforgettable way. The performances in this movie are fantastic. The way the movie looks, the way the movie feels, the grime, the grit, the urban decay, the character study, and knowing in the back of your mind that there are people out there in the world just like this. It's a chilling film. If you've not seen Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, I cannot recommend it any higher. Definitely go out and check out Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. This Blu-ray from Dark Sky Films would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film if you've not seen it. If you are a fan of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, you definitely want to look into picking up this Blu-ray if you haven't already and add it to your collection. Let's check out the presentation here. We've got very simple artwork there on the cover. You've got sort of Henry's face in shadows. The sleeve is reversible, and on the reverse we have some very cool artwork there featuring Henry. Very, very nice artwork. This release also comes with a booklet, and the booklet includes a write-up about the film by Stephen Thrower entitled Henry, Portrait of a Masterpiece, and we get some very nice behind-the-scenes black and white photos from the film there, as you can see. Very nice stuff. As far as the picture quality and the sound quality, this release features a brand new 4K scan restored from the 16mm original camera negative, and it features a new 5.1 restoration mix from the 35mm mag reels approved by director John McNaughton. So as far as the picture quality, this is probably the best Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer has ever looked or will ever look. They did a great job on this 4K scan without making it too clean, without removing the grain. They cleaned it up, but they didn't clean it up too much, if that makes sense. So as far as the picture quality is concerned, I'd give it a solid 4 or 4.5 out of 5. Same with the audio quality, a solid 4 or 4.5 out of 5. The movie looked great and the movie sounded great on this release. As far as extras are concerned, First up, we have In Defense of Henry, An Appreciation. It's 20 minutes and 43 seconds in length. It's an interview with filmmakers Errol Morris and Joe Swanberg, critics Joe Bob Briggs and Kim Morgan, and Professor Jeffrey Sconce. Next up, we have Henry versus the MPAA, A Visual History. It's 10 minutes and 52 seconds in length. It's a discussion on the birth of the MPAA and the battle between Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and the MPAA over the film's rating and its arduous trek to theaters and home video. Next up, we have Henry at the BBFC, an interview with Nightmare USA author Stephen Thrower. It's 27 minutes and 25 seconds in length. Mr. Thrower discusses the Video Recordings Act, the birth of the video nasties, and how the censorship system in the UK required heavy cuts for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer to be released in theaters and further cuts for it to be released on home video. Next up, we have It's Either You or Them, an interview with artist Joe Coleman. It's 8 minutes and 43 seconds in length. Next up, we have In the Round, an interview with director John McNaughton. It's 28 minutes and 5 seconds in length, in which Mr. McNaughton discusses his life prior to becoming a filmmaker and circuitous route that led him to becoming a filmmaker. He discusses his films Mad Dog and Glory, Wild Things, and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Next up, we have Portrait, The Making of Henry. It's 52 minutes and 35 seconds in length. It includes interviews with John McNaughton, co-producer Stephen Jones, co-writer Richard Fire, which it's interesting. When I saw Richard Fire in this extra, I said, I know that guy. Where have I seen that guy before? He actually played the doctor, the child psychiatrist or whatever, in Poltergeist 3. That was odd. He wrote Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer and acted in Poltergeist 3. Very interesting. We also have interviews with Tom Towles, Tracy Arnold, Michael Rooker, costume designer Patricia Hart, art director Rick Paul, director of photography Charles Lieberman, editor Elena Mangini, and filmmaker Chuck Perrello. It's a very nice making of. Basically everything and anything you could possibly want to know about the making of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is in this making of documentary. We get 21 minutes and 25 seconds of deleted scenes and outtakes with commentary by John McNaughton. We get a 30-minute and 44-second interview with John McNaughton that was originally on the 1998 out-of-print MPI DVD release of Henry. We get the original trailer, we get the 30th anniversary trailer, we get a still gallery, we get storyboards, and we get a commentary with John McNaughton moderated by David Gregory. This is an excellent Blu-ray release for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. You've got great picture quality and sound quality and a whole slew of extras on here to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the release of the film. If you've not seen Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, by all means, go out and watch the movie. This Blu-ray would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. If you're a fan of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer and you don't already own this 30th anniversary release, by all means, this should definitely be in your collection. If you've seen Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. If you've seen the sequel, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer Part 2, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section below as well. I might do a review of that movie. If you guys want me to do a review of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer Part 2, please let me know down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the $1 a month club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons, Kevin Smythe, Orc145626, B-Movie Mike, Robert Sobel, Turi Delamore, Stephen Flanagan, Lori Holt, Farron Sutton, Craig Farrand, Jeremiah Lambert, Grindhouse Grotto, Joseph Charlesworth, Derek Jana, Demon Waffles, Simon Clark, Stone Gassman, Zachary Barton, James Welch, Eli Geisler, Jeff Overing, Alan Scott, Kyle McGuire, Jay the Stingray, Lauren Dixon, Andrew McDonald, Dave Barnes, Jonathan Lundy, Chris Parsons, Chris Gonzalez, Trenton Bowser, Jason Breitenbach, and Brandon Bisdick. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.